Hello, and welcome back to another Elevated Marketing podcast, where we simplify complicated digital marketing topics to make your business grow. On today's podcast, we are going to talk about why I should be running TikTok ads, or should I be running TikTok ads? It's just another ad platform. It's certainly one that we have done some ads for and done it successfully. And so, just like with any ad platform, you got to kind of, look through and see if it's going to work for you. So, what is your favorite way to spend a day off?
Hmm. Well, my perfect day, it depends on my mood. Like if I've been really busy, then I'm okay with like chilling at home and
Mhm,
cleaning
mhm.
or reading or just not doing anything except what my little heart desires. But if I have to have plans, I would spend my day probably my first choice would be my niece. Like I would
Aw.
spend the day with her for sure. And then other than that, just like my family or my friends. But ideally, I would love to just sit and read.
There you go. I like to do, so I'm probably gonna wanna go out and do, but, when it's nasty outside right now and cold and wet, and I
Yeah.
don't like to go out, I like to learn, so watch documentaries if I'm gonna be at home or something like that.
Any true
Uh
crime?
Yeah, I'll definitely watch some true crime. I don't know, I feel like I've watched them all where I'm, like, watching on multiple channels,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Oh, I already seen that over there, I already seen." So I need to
Mhm.
find, like, a new hobby there or something. I've seen too many of them. I'm trying to get out more, how about that? That's my new.
That's good.
Alright, so let's talk about, should I be running TikTok ads? What do you think? You're, younger than me. That's TikTok. I don't hang out there that much, just
Mhm.
enough to be dangerous.
Yes. Well, pre-show, we were talking about the demographics that are in there, and I suddenly realized I am officially, as of 2 days ago, out of the demographic that's mainly on there, so that's a little depressing, but I think overall, it really depends on what your product is, maybe your service, and who you're trying to target. That's a big thing on TikTok, who's hanging out over there.
Yeah, well, I think that is regardless of the channel, you gotta look
Yeah,
at, is your audience on there? So it's not just a simple answer of, should I be on there or should I not?
for sure.
Yeah, so we were talking about those demographics, and 12 to 24-year-olds, you're about a 75% chance that they're on TikTok. It drops down to 50-50 though when you get to the 25 to 34. So you really start to drop off. And this is United States. And this is in May of 2023. So it's a little outdated, but it's Statista, which stays pretty up to date. So
Mhm.
I'm always curious what the latest stats are.
Yeah, definitely.
I get burnt out on it.
Yeah, I think it depends, like, I will say TikTok's algorithm is really good about finding the niche that you're interested in, and
Uh-huh.
so that's why I like hanging out over there. I feel like I've got my For You page down to science, but yeah, it
Not me. I get over there and I get random stuff, and I get it though. I mean,
Mhm.
over on the platforms that I hang out on LinkedIn or Facebook, I mean, there's algorithms there, so I get it.
Yeah, I do think with TikTok, there really is a wide variety of interests that are on there. The people who are, whether they're just scrolling and watching or they're creating those videos. I mean, if you look at any of like the hashtags and you click on that, like there are just so many videos within so many different, categories and interests.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. I mean, when you start getting into that targeting, you can target by hashtags. So
Mhm.
that's one way. Specific creators, it's got some of the same basic targets that you see over on other platforms, like, interest based on behavior on the platform, not like off the platform. So it has the same thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Some of the things, though, I see different is on a lot of other platforms, you can target down to the zip code. You can't do that on TikTok. You can only target to the DMA or designated marketing area, which is old radio terms. So that's like, if we're looking at Indianapolis, that's like Marion County and a couple counties out. Well, if
Mhm.
you're a local mom and pop, TikTok might not make sense because you can't really get to that local audience that you want to get in front of.
Yeah, that's a good point as far as, like, getting down to geo-targeting.
Yeah, yeah, that's not gonna work. Other things are, I'm not sure it would be my first choice if I'm just now starting off with ads. I'm probably gonna, try out some other platforms first, Facebook mainly. A lot cheaper over there. I also like how there's just not as much work involved as far as video creation and all of that. There's a lot of pressure there.
There is. I I mean, TikTok, it is all video, so the creativity aspect, it can be pretty competitive. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not to say that you have to have a million different graphics or transitions happening, like, in your videos, but I think the context of the videos is where it gets competitive.
Yeah, yeah, very you have to be creative.
Mhm.
Budget, you need at least $50 per campaign a day. That's $1,500 a month. So if this is, you're just starting off, uh, I don't know if that makes sense either.
Mhm. Yeah, that's kind of a lot to throw at ads starting off, especially, say, back to, like, the video thing. If you don't have a lot of video to pull from and, the bandwidth isn't quite there to really get creative with your videos, then I think it's kind of just, I don't wanna say wasted time, but
You could
maybe
start in other
time
areas.
spent well. Yeah.
Yeah. I think other things to look at is the nature of how TikTok really is a scrolling platform.
Mhm.
And, people do like to constantly scroll. And so, although, measuring your marketing in general is getting more broad, um, this one, y- y- you're just not sure if people are not clicking through, is it making a difference or not? So it kind of goes back to TV or radio or billboard. So it's good for that mass marketing branding. Um, but it might not necessarily people don't click on things to leave TikTok.
Right. Yeah. Well, and TikTok does do a great job at keeping their users in their platform too, especially with, like, any e-commerce. I
Yeah.
mean, you can swipe over and you're in TikTok shop, or if you're e-commerce, you can have your own items in a TikTok shop. So, I
Y-
mean,
Tell
that's
us about TikTok shop. So I'm not over there. Like what do you get over there?
yeah. So I can't speak from experience on purchasing anything from TikTok Shop, but there have been multiple times where I'm scrolling and I accidentally swipe left and then it takes me to the TikTok Shop. And it's kind of overwhelming, I will say. Like, it's not very organized in my
Oh boy.
opinion. Yeah.
I
Like,
can't
just
deal with that, I can't.
no, yeah, like, it's just a bunch of stuff
Is
thrown
it
on
like
a
random buying then?
kind of, but a lot of ads are coming from TikTok Shop that I've seen, and
Ah,
also seen with that though is a lot of these things in the TikTok Shop are actually fakes of, like, big named items. So, like,
mm,
brand like Tarte, for example, it's a makeup brand.
uh-huh.
There are many things on there that are being marketed as Tarte products, but they're not. They're fake.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh,
And so, I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of a gamble when it comes
yeah.
to,
Well,
marketing that way.
yeah, so I'm gonna go back to the branding thing.
Mhm.
Trying to get in front of that target audience that is between 17 or 12 and 24. That's who you want on TikTok.
Mhm.
It should be a slice of your ad budget. So 1,500, just being a slice of your overall ad budget. Uh, it, it's not that much. If you say you're only using 10% of your budget towards like testing a new platform, then your budget is much larger than that over in other networks. So
Mhm.
that's things that I would think about as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I think other things is, there is an impact, when you're advertising on multiple platforms. So people do switch from platform to platform. So if you're already running YouTube ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, just add it to it. They might not click when they're on TikTok, but maybe they'll click when they're over on Facebook or YouTube. So it's that brand recognition.
Yeah, and I think to go along with that, I would add, as far as, like, the creative goes, a lot of times you can get by with reusing some of the creative that you've already made for, say, Facebook, maybe even over to Google.
Yeah.
But with TikTok, I think sometimes it really does have to be different. Now, if you're only creating for Reels over in Facebook, that I
Yeah.
think could translate well over into TikTok. But if you're doing like an in feed with a story size placement over in Facebook, I just don't think that necessarily translates very well most of the time. So I think just being mindful of, if you are running on both or multiple platforms and TikTok is involved, making sure your creative is also, following suit
Or, you
TikTok.
know, if you are going in bare minimum, then, maybe it is the same across all of them. And
Mhm.
then you have Performance Max too, where they have, their YouTube ads. There isn't quite an ad placement though for just the TikTok shorts. So that doesn't quite exist. They've got it more into a square form. So just things to think about.
Yeah.
Any last minute things you think about?
I think when it comes to considering TikTok ads, just remembering what the platform is all about. It's supposed to be engaging. A lot of trends are over there. Just because there is a trend, it doesn't mean you have to follow it. But maybe if it does fit into your brand, then I don't know, maybe give TikTok a whirl.
It's just like anything, it's not a simple answer, so alright, well, thanks for listening, that wraps up this topic for now. Certainly rate and review the podcast if you enjoyed today's show, and follow us on all the socials. Yes, we have a TikTok, so you can go catch us over there as well. Alright, take care.